Hello, this is a guide demonstrating how to install the Pterodactyl panel using Oracle's free tier. Now keep in mind this is only a guide and not a full tutorial. It is important that you follow along with the installation documentation because things will constantly change. Other than that, I think we can get started. So the first thing we'll do, this is the get starting page on the Oracle Cloud. So we're going to create a VM instance. And then we're going to change the image to Ubuntu. And we're going to choose the Ampere processors, and we're going to go for 4 CPUs and 24 gigabytes of memory. We're going to download a private key, and we're going to specify the boot volume to be up to 200 gigabytes because that's how much the free tier allows up to. Okay. So now while the server is provisioning, we're going to turn this .key file into a PPK file. That way PuTTY can read it. So we're going to open up PuTTY-gen. We're going to load. And we're going to change this to all files. Open up our .key. All right, we're going to save the private key. Call it Oracle demo. All right. So that should save it. Now we'll open up PuTTY, and we'll copy the public IP address. We'll paste it here under data. The auto login username will be Ubuntu. And we go to SSH auth. We're going to browse for a key file. We're going to open up our Oracle demo file. All right, and we'll save this as Oracle demo save. And if we open it, we'll trust this device, and we're in. Perfect. Okay, so before we can fully get started on the install, we're going to adjust some IP tables because Oracle starts off with certain rules. You can read about it here. I'll put this in the description. So these are the commands we'll have to do. I just have these right here, so I can just quickly do that. We do sudo -i. Perfect. Paste those. All right, so now port 80 will actually be open. Now we can start up with the guide. So we're going to start off by installing all the dependencies. This might take a little bit. Okay, so now what we have to do is we're going to have to open up the ports on our subnet. So you're able to do that by going to your instance dashboard. And we're going to actually copy this IP address real quick. I'm going to put it here because when we enter it, we'll get no results because the ports aren't open. But if we go to our subnet, and go to our default subnet security list, we're going to add ingress rules. Actually, I'm going to full screen this real quick. We're going to add ingress rules. And so now we got to open up the ports. If you go to the Pterodactyl Discord, under the pinned messages and the installation help, there's all the ports all the default ports that are here listed. So we're going to open up. So we're going to go here. We're going to start an ingress rule to open up these ports. We're going to go 80, 443, 80, 80. I believe that is and 2022. All right. And those are all TCP ports. And so now I'm also going to add in some for our game servers. We're going to open up 100 ports here. We're going to go 25565 to 25665. We're going to open up all those TCP ports. And then we're going to do the same thing for UDP. All right, perfect. critical thing to remember, which I almost forgot to mention, is to make sure that both 80, 443, and 2022 are also UDP. This is essential for it to work correctly. So that should be perfect for all our ports. Now if we refresh this, we get a welcome to NGINX page. Perfect. We are set. All right, so let's continue with the Pterodactyl install. We're installing Composer here. All right. And then we're going to make the directory and cd into var www pterodactyl. All right. Perfect. So now we're going to go to MySQL. We're going to make a password here. So this one I'm just going to call it password. All right, so we're going to do this one line at a time. We're going to create a user and it's going to be identified, but we're going to replace the your password with the password that you created. Perfect. I copied the exit with it too, by the way. Perfect. All right, so we're done with that. Make sure you do the exit as well. So now we get these two. We're doing this as root. I'm gonna say yes. And it is very important to read through the documentation as you do these installs because there's important notes to keep in mind. All right, so now we are going to set up the panel. So we're gonna skip through this. We're gonna call this one, cool. This is gonna be your domain, by the way. And do not forget to add in the HTTPS if you're gonna do SSL encryption, or HTTP if you're not. And then you're gonna do the time zone. And we're gonna do Redis for these three options. And we are going to enable it. Do localhost. Redis password, we're gonna press enter because there is no Redis password. And we're gonna choose the standard port, 6379. All right, perfect. It is set up. Now let's go to the database. All right, we're gonna do 127.0.0.1, 3306, panel, Pterodactyl. Then we're gonna do the password. Let's do it. Password. Perfect. And I'm not gonna set up the mail. You can set up the mail if you want to set up your own TP server, but I'm just not gonna do that. All right. So once you run this, we are going to make our first user. By the way, this command is going to be installing all the eggs, the standard default eggs and whatnot. Okay. So now we're going to make our first user. I'm going to be an admin. I'm actually say yes. Perfect. All right, and now we're going to set the permissions here. All right. We'll choose one. All right. So now we're going to copy this. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom and paste it. We're going to do Control X, press Y, and enter. All right. So now we are going to do nano. We're going to paste that. And there's the Tarock.service. copy that, add a slash, be sure to add a slash, and that file name. All right. And inside of this file, we are going to insert this. Remember, Control X, Y, enter. Just like that. All right. Not a big deal, it's gonna do it anyways. All right, perfect. So now what would be the next step would be the web server configuration. If you read here, we are going to need to first create SSL certificates. So we're going to go down to creating SSL certificates, and we're going to do that real fast. And keep in mind, we are going to be doing this in NGINX and not Apache. Perfect. All right, so before we go to this next step, we're actually gonna go to our DNS manager. So you do need a domain for this. So we are gonna go grab our IP address, go back here. All right, so we have our public IP address right here. Boom, call this oracle.parkerserver.net. We're gonna add that record. And to test it out, that should bring us, yep, there we go. And we're now into the NGINX page. All right, so now if we create our certificate here, we're using NGINX once again. And we're gonna, I'm gonna do cancel real quick. Because I'm gonna do the enter. Be sure to, because we're not gonna do example.com. All right, be sure to replace this with your domain. Perfect. Be sure to do your actual email if you're gonna be like told when you're about to run out of your SSL encryption. And we're going to agree, and we're going to opt out of the email. I don't want to be shared here. Okay, and congratulations, we do have our certificate. So now we're going to set up the auto renewal. Perfect. All right, awesome. So now we'll go back to the web page, web server configuration. All right, we're going to remove the default NGINX site. So this will no longer be what happens when you enter the domain. All right. And now we are going to there we go. And there, pterodactyl.conf. This is a configuration file. Enter. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to copy this file, paste it in here. Use the up arrow to go up here. And then we have to replace everything here that says domain. Be sure to get rid of the arrows inside with your domain. And so there should be 4 of these that you have to replace. All right, and once you replace all 4 of them, you can do Control X, Y, enter. Perfect. All right, and we're going to enable this configuration file. Perfect. And then we're going to restart NGINX. So now when you reload to your web URL, there you go. Your panel is up and in. And we do have our SSL encryption. Perfect. All right, so now we can start setting up wings. So when you first get into the panel, you can actually start the login. And so if we go hit settings, and we go to our nodes, we have no nodes connected, so we can't actually create any servers. So now we gotta set up our wings so we can have a healthy node. So we're gonna install wings, and we're going to install Docker. And as it goes, we're going to copy this command. This will enable Docker on boot. So every time your device restarts, Docker will start up too. All right, we're going to enable Docker. Awesome. All right, we're going to enable swap. And then we're going to install wings. All right, so now we need to set up our configuration file. So there's two ways of doing this. So first we're going to create our location. This server is located in Phoenix. So we're going to create the location like that. We're going to go to nodes, create new, and we're going to call this Oracle Cloud. Perfect. Actually, I'm going to full screen this. So for this, I'm going to give it 20 gigabytes of memory. I'm going to do 0% over allocation. For disk space, we'll give it 200 gigabytes. No over allocation. We're going to use the standard default ports. And because we need SSL connection, we're going to put in our domain. Should do that, but .net. So be sure to do your regular domain here. And we're going to create the node. Perfect. So this is the configuration file. So sometimes the auto deploy token works great. Sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, you can follow the docs. I might have to. We'll find out. But hopefully, you can just put this command in here and enter it like that. Yep. Didn't work for me, so I'm just gonna go right in here. We go nano, paste there, and we're gonna add a /config.yml. Perfect. We're gonna grab all of this and enter that. Control X, Y, enter. Perfect. All right. So we're gonna go back here, that, and then we're gonna start up wings. And I'll load up a whole cool little graph. Awesome. We're gonna do Control C to exit this. And now we gotta daemonize it. So we're gonna go to nano once again. Perfect. We're gonna copy all of this. Boom. Control X, Y, enter. And now we're gonna enable the auto boot of wings every time your system starts. All right. So now, if we come to here, go to our nodes, we have a green healthy heart. Awesome. Our wings is connected. So now we're going to enable all of those 100 ports we added. So for the IP address, we are going to choose our private IPv4 address. So that's going to be this one here, private IP address. Boom. And for the IP alias, you can actually name it whatever. You can make it Minecraft or whatever, but I like to do the public IP address. That way it's really easy to copy. I can show you what I mean by that in a little bit. And we're going to go 255.65 to 25665. So this is to open up all 100 ports. We're going to submit it, and just like that. All right, and that is how you install the Pterodactyl panel. Once you have everything installed, creating users is really simple. You can run the command. You can just do create new. You're able to set their emails, passwords, whether or not they're an administrator. You can even set up things like 2FA, I believe. Yep. You can set up 2FA for admins if you want, or all users. It is actually super convenient. But other than that, everything else is super simple. You can create a server, just like that. Assign the ports. You can add more ports if you wish. Just choose the node if you have more than one node. But yeah, that's all you have to do for Pterodactyl. Thanks for watching.